Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live English class. I'm Christian, and this is Canguro English. Today, in this live class, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Um, reading books is an absolutely fantastic way to learn vocabulary and to to absorb all of those grammatical structures, to absorb them, to observe them being used in a natural way. You know, reading is really such an important way to enjoy English as well, because telling stories and reading stories is a great way to just enjoy the language without like studying. And I think reading books that you like, it doesn't feel like hard work. It feels like fun. So today I'm going to teach you I'm going to show you how much fun it can be to read a book. And I have a classic book to share with you today. And although it's a children's book, I think that children's books sometimes are much better than adults' books, because they contain moral and ethical like lessons, right? They teach us about life and about how to be better people, and children's books are great for this. So let's have a look. Who do we have here? We've got Yura Koreba, Saman, Alejandro, David Wallace, Aaron Reese is here. We've got the some some Russian person. I can't read the text. I'm sorry. We've got Dana Reed, Ivan is here, Naim Dayoub, Sadi Ahmed in Montreal. Hello. Lenny Escobar's here from Brazil. Hi, Lenny. Lena Da Silva, Tony Ward, Carlos Padros. Can I up level? I'm up leveling every day. Every day, level up. Andreo Silva, Roman Noves, Dennis, Olga, Inez. Thank you. Yes, normally, normally I wouldn't wear pink, but every time I wear the shirt, people say, "Great T-shirt." So obviously, pink is a good color for me. Katarzyna Latkoshka. Okay, so she says that she reads on her Kindle. Yeah, I think a Kindle's great. A Kindle's great because, books are cheap and it's easy to change books, and it's a good thing. Which band is most loved in Australia? Midnight Oil or Men at Work? I don't know. That's a subjective question. I think maybe Men at Work, they have less of an influence in general, because, they don't, they made less music, But Midnight Oil, I mean, the guy, I can't remember his name, the bald guy, he became a politician in Australia, the lead singer of Midnight Oil, and he became a politician, a green politician. He was against mining and for, for nature, against mining and for nature. I don't even know why that's not normal. Why does that have to be something special? Shouldn't that be common sense? Anyway. Yeah, and so I think that, maybe they have a bigger legacy. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really like either of those bands. Narrator is here. Who else have we got here? Lots of people. So listen, Peter Garrett. There we go. Peter Garrett. So Katarzyna says that using Kindle, you can create sticky notes to remember words. Ooh. Okay, so listen, I don't want to spend a lot of time chatting. Let's get into it. Let's read this book. Okay, so this book is called Pigtail. Pigtail. So you can see it's tail like story, not tail like, like tail. Right. It's written by Helen Oxenbury, and this is a classic book because it was written in 1973. This book was written before I was born. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read you the story, all of the story, and then we're going to go back and look at some of that vocabulary and some of those grammatical structures. And I'm going to tell you about the origin of some of the words, some of the new vocabulary to help you remember them. It's going to be great. Okay, so first we're going to just read the book. We're going to read the book all at once with no stopping. And then we're going to go back. Jiri Sluka wants me to speak with an Aussie accent. The thing is that my Australian accent, so I can turn it on and off like a tap. So if I want to sound really Australian, I just sort of elongate those vowels. Maybe, maybe like cut a few little maybe change my T's into D's a bit, and like maybe cut off the end of words. Use a bit of that high rising tone at the end, like going up at the end. That's my true Aussie accent coming out. No, not really. Okay, so let's read the book, and it's a great book. It has a great moral tale. I feel a lot of connection to this book. My mum read this book to me when I was younger, and I hope you like it. I really do. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to flip the camera around. Here we go. Okay, Pigtail by Helen Oxenbury. This is the story of two bored pigs. She was called Bertha, and his name was Briggs. They would lie in the grass and moan and complain. Nothing happens to us. Every day is the same. They had plenty to eat, a warm sty with a thatch, an orchard to play in, and trees for a scratch. Cool mud for a wallow, fields full of flowers, soft grass for a doze, or to gossip for hours. But Bertha and Briggs were never content. On money and riches their two minds were bent. There were so many wonderful things they would do, only then would they really be happy, they knew. Then, one sunny day, they were nosing about, when Briggs grubbed up a chest with the end of his snout. They opened the lid with a squeal of delight, for the chest contained treasure, all glittering bright. "We are rich!" they cried out as they cleaned themselves down, and clutching the chest, they set off for the town. The noise of the traffic alarmed the two pigs, but Bertha clung tight to the trotter of Briggs. Briggs was soon dreaming of shiny new cars, while Bertha gazed into shop windows for hours. They came to a bank and looked shyly about, till the manager angrily ordered them out. He ordered them out, then he noticed the box, and his eyes had a gleam like a wily old fox. Briggs lifted the lid of the treasure so rare, the manager gasped and said, "Well, I declare!" He bowed, and he scraped, and he said with a purr, "Won't you please take a seat now, dear madam and sir? I will give you some cash, Mr. Briggs, if I may. You will find it is simpler than jewels when you pay." He locked up the treasure behind a steel door, and gave them a case stuffed with banknotes galore. "Thank you, oh thank you," said Bertha with glee. "Come, Briggs, let us start on our great shopping spree." They went to a large and luxurious store, where Bertha bought dresses and hats by the score. Briggs' turn was next, and he felt quite a swell. He tried on 4 suits, and they fit him quite well. From the store to the showrooms was not very far, so they hurried to buy an expensive new car. "This model's the latest," the car salesman said. "Then I'll have it," cried Briggs, feeling light in the head. In jumped the 2 pigs, and they sped on their way to purchase a house by the end of the day. They went to an agent who handed to Briggs some pictures of houses just right for 2 pigs. Bertha soon spotted the house with most charm, the one she had seen from the gate on the farm. The agent escorted them both to the door, then left them alone to go in and explore. That night they were happy as 2 pigs could be, and they talked and they planned until well after 3. But, tossing and turning twixt blankets and sheet, poor Briggs hardly slept on account of the heat. Bertha made breakfast, Briggs puttered about. He polished the car, she cleaned the house out. Bertha cooked dinner, while Briggs sat and read. He made a few phone calls, they watched TV till bed. One day, feeling restless with nothing to do, while Bertha was busy preparing a stew, Briggs drove his new car through the green countryside, speeding down lanes that were not very wide. Suddenly, out of the engine there shot a cloud of black smoke and of steam boiling hot. The car gave a cough and a lurch and a leap, and then rolled to a halt near a flock of white sheep. Briggs lifted the hood and prodded around, but the cause of the trouble just could not be found. The longer he struggled, the madder he got, till at last, in despair, very tired and too hot, he threw down the wrench and uttered a moan. He'd just have to start on the long walk back home. When he opened the door, Briggs instantly knew that Bertha's new gadgets were troublesome too. "Oh, Briggs," Bertha sobbed, "what a miserable day. I've been working so hard, I've had no time to play." From that moment on, nothing seemed to go right. House, garden, and pigs were a terrible sight. At last, the 2 pigs couldn't stand any more. Briggs grabbed Bertha's arm, and they dashed through the door. From the garden they gazed at the country beyond, and Briggs in a rage pushed his car in the pond. They felt no regrets as they ran through the gate, and away from the life they had soon grown to hate. They pulled off their clothes and ran on faster still. Didn't even look back as they tore up the hill. Breathless, they ran through the old orchard gate. For a roll in the mud, the 2 pigs couldn't wait. To be careless and free and to romp and to play was all that they wanted to do every day. That night, as they lay gazing up at the sky, Bertha and Briggs heaved a rapturous sigh. "Let's stay here forever," said Bertha to Briggs, and they fell fast asleep, two tired, happy pigs. Well, what an awesome book. What an awesome story. It's like, it's a story about, you want something, you think that you will be happy if you have money and things, and then you get those things and you realize it doesn't make you happy, that you just want the simple things, right? To play, to roll in the mud, to laugh, and that's what this book is about, and this kind of thing you find in children's books, and I love it. I think it's great. So now what I want to do is I want to look at some of the specific vocabulary so that you can remember it. Okay? I hope you understood a lot from context. But let's look at the details, okay? So let's begin with first page. So if you want to just go now, if you're happy with the story, just go. But if you really want to sort of maybe to remember some of this vocabulary and some of the structures, just stay with me for another 20 minutes and let's look at this. Okay, so the book is called Pigtail by Helen Oxenbury. Okay? Let me do it around this way actually. There you go. Pigtail. Oops. There you go. Trouble with my tripod. Okay. Pigtail by Helen Oxenbury. Okay, so the first page, here they are. So the story of two bored pigs. She was called Bertha and his name was Briggs. They would lie in the grass and moan. Moan and complain. Okay? So this word is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means the word sounds like the thing. And this is quite common in all languages. So moan is like a synonym for complain. It's like this: moan, 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 moan. Do you hear the sound? The sound of that type of complaining, right, is like that. Moan. Oh, life is so difficult. I wish I had money. Moan, moan, moan. Okay? So that's easy to remember because it sounds like the thing. Okay? And you will notice that a lot of this vocabulary, okay, is based in onomatopoeia. Okay, so let's have a look at the next page. Turn the camera around. Okay, here we go. So they had plenty to eat and a warm sty with a thatch. So sty is basically where pigs live. That's what a sty is. And thatch, okay, thatch is this type of roof with the hay like this, the traditional type of roof, okay? Now, here we have an orchard to play in. Orchard. Now, these words are not too common, so I'm not going to talk about these words, but this word orchard is a very common word. Orchard. So let's look at the two parts of this word. Orchard. So the first part is wart. It comes from the Old English word wart. Wart means vegetable. In fact, in some European languages, it sounds very similar. The word for vegetables is wart. In fact, in English, we have a medicinal herb called St. John's wort. Okay, so wart is vegetable, and then orchard, yard is garden. Orchard, wart, yard, vegetable garden. So that's all that this word means. When the pigs are here, they're in the vegetable garden. It was originally vegetable garden, but now an orchard is a place only for fruit trees. So orange trees, apple trees, lemon trees, that's an orchard. but it means vegetable garden originally. Okay? So, trees for a scratch. And what about this one? Look at this. Cool mud for a wallow. Ooh, look at this great word, wallow. Now, maybe it seems like a word that you're not going to remember. It seems like a very abstract word. Wallow. It doesn't sound similar to other words. What does it mean? Well, what do the pigs do? They turn like this, right? See, they're turning in the mud. They're in the mud going, yeah, this is... So they're turning, they're doing this, right? They're doing this. Now, what else does this? Can anyone tell me a word that sounds similar to wallow that does this, that goes round and round? Anyone know what it could be? Wallow. What's a word that sounds wallow that goes round? That you can find maybe on your car. You can find maybe, you can find it maybe on your bicycle. Yeah, you can find it everywhere. Very good, Murillo. Murillo Villar and Ragad. It is a wheel. So that's what it means. Wallow is basically from the same root as wheel. It means that you're turning around. So the pig is basically doing a wheel wallow in the mud. Turning around. And so you can wallow in mud, but you can also wallow abstract, right? So I could wallow in misery. Maybe I'm feeling depressed. I'm having a bad day, so I get my big ice cream, my big container of ice cream, and I watch a sad movie and I wallow in misery. Or maybe I can wallow in happiness or wallow in desire. I'm in it, spinning around in it. Okay, next, let's continue. Here we go. So, yes, fields full of flowers. I think there's no, and this one, soft grass for a doze. Doze. A doze. Now, if you looked at the picture, what do you think this could mean? A doze. If you look at the picture. Any ideas what it could be? A doze? What's a doze? Very good, Nadia Korateva. It's like a nap. Now we have so much vocabulary in English for sleeping. You can sleep, you can doze, you can nap, you can take 40 winks, you can have a siesta, you can have a cat nap, lots of vocabulary. And a doze maybe, now if you are from a Scandinavian country, like if you're from maybe Norway or Finland, maybe you recognize this word because in Swedish, dusa means to sleep. So it comes, we took this from the Vikings, it's a Viking word to doze. And what it means is you're not really sleeping. You're kind of like a little bit like semi-conscious. You know, it's like a long, maybe you spend 20 minutes like lying in the grass, just sort of maybe sleeping a little bit, maybe not sleeping, you know, just like a high level of relaxation. That's dozing, okay? Okay, now this vocabulary word, one of my favorites. Or to gossip for hours. Gossip. So you can see the pigs, they're gossiping. So what is gossiping really? Gossiping is when you sort of talk with normally people that you know, right? Like maybe your family or your neighbors or your, people that are close to you. And gossip normally is negative. Like, you know, you tell stories like, oh, did you see those two together? Oh, I think that maybe, or you talk about how maybe somebody doesn't have any money, or how they have a new car, or how they're very stupid. Normally gossip is negative, but where did this word come from? So again, we're going to break this word into two parts. Gossip. God, sib. God, sib. Gossip, God, sib, basically means God parent. So if you are a Christian or a Catholic, then probably when you were christened, when you had your christening, you chose, or somebody gave you, a godparent. It's normally a member of your family, somebody close to you, who is responsible for your religious formation in the past. Now they're just responsible for giving you really good presents. It's changed a lot. Society's changed. So in the past, your godparent was about helping you to be, like a good Catholic. But now it's about giving you the best presents at Christmas. I think that's the only role of the godparent. So think about that. Why would God sib, your godparent, why would that be related to gossip? Because normally your godparent was like a neighbor or a family member or a very good friend, exactly the type of person that you would tell this gossip to, right? So when you're talking about, did you see them? And oh my God. And when you're doing all this gossiping, it's with people who are close to you, with your godparents. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, here we go. Camera round. So here they are, dreaming about cars and holidays. Okay. So Bertha and Briggs were never content. On money and riches, their two minds were bent. So here we have straight. My arm is straight. Okay. Now my arm is bent. Okay, bent. So your mind is not focused on maybe going to your work and doing a good job and being, coming home to your family, and it's not focused on your reality. No, your mind is bent. It's bent like my arm. It's thinking about holidays and riches and cars, things that you don't have, things that are out of your vision, right? So your mind can be bent. So you can say this normally in English. You could say, but you don't have to say mine. You can say, he is bent on doing something. Like, he is bent. I am bent on becoming the best English teacher in the world. Hell bent. Okay, so let's just continue a little bit here. So there were so many wonderful things they would do, only then would they really be happy, they knew. Okay. And then here they are in the mud, and they found this treasure. So look at this. So then one sunny day they were nosing about. So you can see we're using the word, the noun, as a verb. We're using the noun as a verb. So they're like, you can imagine, right? They're nosing in the mud. Yeah. Nosing about. So when Briggs grubbed up a chest with the end of his snout. Okay, so different animals have different names for their nose. But in general, nose-related things in English, everything related to the nose is sn, like a sn sound. Like, for example, you have sniff. You have snot. If you have a cold and you have the liquid that comes out of your nose, that's snot. You have sneeze. Achoo. You have smell. To smell, you have to snort. Like some people, when they laugh, they snort. I don't know if you have ever met anyone in your life who snorts. Wow, look at this. To snarl. So, maybe, I don't know if that's related, but yeah, your nose is like, yeah, snarl. And snore. You guys are amazing students. Of course, when you're asleep, you're like, you're snoring. So all of the nose words are sn words. Because, language evolves from a root, like a simple root. So, we have the sn is nose, and so all of the nose words are sn. No? But my favorite thing is how the Spanish stole the word sniff from English and turned it into sniffear and changed the meaning completely. Okay, so let's have a look at next page. Okay, here we go. Come on, camera. Okay, so he grubbed up a chest with the end of his snout. This is a chest. A chest. Okay? Because a chest, think about it. This is your chest, right? This is your chest. Your chest is made of your ribs that protect your heart. Look at that, strong. Your chest. Just like that. That thing, okay, which protects the treasure, okay? Your chest. Chest with the end of his snout. They opened the lid with a squeal of delight. So, onomatopoeia. Squeal, squeal, squeal. For the chest contained treasure, all glittering bright. Glitter. Now, I want you to just remember that word. Glitter. Because here's another root. Gl. Gl. That glitter, that gl root gives us so much vocabulary. You'll see in a moment. Okay? So, here we go. I need to turn the camera on. So, we are rich, they cried out as they cleaned themselves down, and clutching the chest they set off for the town. The noise of the traffic alarmed the two pigs, and Bertha clung tight to the trotter of pigs. So look at this. We have clung. So the infinitive is cling. And then we have clutch. So again, we have this similar thing. Cling, clutch. We have the cl, those cl sounds. And what do you call this? If it's an animal, who knows what the cl word is for an animal? Huh? Does anybody know this vocabulary? Cl? Very good. Cal Silvestrini. Eva Lax is in there. Nadia Koroteva. It is a claw. So you see, we're starting to develop this sort of like a very low, like a dictionary of roots. So we have the claw and the clutch and the cling and the clasp. Okay, so if you have like a bag, well, I don't have a bag, but maybe if you have a bag, when you close the bag, this clasp. Wow, that's really strong. So you have a clasp. So you can sort of guess a clip. That is a clip. You see, it's a clip. You guys are amazing. What an amazing group of students. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so again, let's go back here. So Bertha clung tight to the trotter of Briggs. Trotter. So, Carlos, good question. Is clap related to claw and cling and clutch? I don't know. Maybe. Let's say yes. If it helps you to remember it, great. So yeah, trotter. Now this is an example of what they call back formation. So trotter started as a verb. Okay, so maybe if you speak Spanish or Italian, you have like trottear. Okay, they have the verb, which means an animal walks. The animal walks. And then from the verb, trotter, we make a noun. So now this is a trotter, because you use the trotter to trotter, or trottar. Okay, no, it's not trotter, it's trottar. Dear, oh dear. Bad verb endings, Christian. In Italian, trottare. So, and I don't know in Italian what is the name for the foot. In Spanish, it's a pezuña, which is not related. In Italian, I don't know. Zoccolo. Zoccolo, piedi. Remember, guys, Italian 101. If you want to speak Italian, this is it, okay? Everything is Italian when you do this. Okay. Briggs was soon dreaming of shiny new cars, while Bertha gazed into shop windows for hours. Gaze. This is to gaze, to just look for a long time. It's different from staring. Staring is kind of like rude. Staring's like this. You know, when, like, I live in a small town. If you come to the small town, people will stare at you. Who is this new guy in town? Staring at you. But gazing is more positive. Gazing's like if you're a woman and you're having dinner with George Clooney, you're just like, you know, just looking and admiring, like, So look, she's gazing in the windows. Look, she's gazing, thinking about those beautiful dresses, right? And look at this. They came to a bank and looked shyly about till the manager angrily ordered them out. Okay? So let's think about this quite a common adjective, shy. What does it mean when you're shy? It actually means that you're scared. So this is the adverb, shyly. But the adjective, the more common adjective is shy. So shy means you're scared, right? And what do you do when you're scared? You try to escape the situation. So maybe, you know, you're shy because you don't like talking to people. So you try to avoid the people because you're shy. Now, you will find the root of this word in other Romance languages. In Spanish, it's esquivar. To esquivar is to, like, dodge, right? So here's the person trying to talk to you, and you're like, no, you're trying to esquivar. In Italian, it's schivare. You're trying to schivare. It's the same thing. So in English, it's shy. You're trying to you know, avoid that thing. You're shy. All right? And also in English, think about you know, if you want something to go away, you're like, shoo. It's the same thing. You're shy. You're like, go away. It's exactly like timid. It's a synonym for timid. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a look at the next section. Okay. Here we go. So the bank manager, he tells them to go away, and then he sees the treasure chest, and he says, he ordered them out. Then he noticed the box, and his eyes had a gleam like a wily old fox. A gleam. Now, remember I told you to remember the word from before, which was glittering. Remember that they said the treasure was glittering. So here's another root. So glittering is something that's shiny and bright. It's glittering. And then we have gleam. His eyes had a gleam. Again, that shining bright light. And then we have other words like glisten. You know, when you come out of the water and you have your skin is like glistening. All sound very similar. All related to this seeing and this brightness. Glow. You know, a light, it glows. Gervier. Great little phrase. All that glitters is not gold. Also, there was a film with Mariah Carey called Glitter. I don't recommend watching that. Sorry, Mariah. And then we have glimmer. There's another word which is similar, glimmer and glint. So all of these kind of glow words that related, very similar sort of meanings. Okay? So let's go back and okay, here we go. So Briggs lifted the lid of the treasure so rare. The manager gasped and said, "Well, I declare." He bowed and he scraped and he said with a purr. What a great sentence. Now look at this, with a purr. Now, let me ask you, what animal purrs? Who knows what animal purrs in English? It's not a pig. Prince Marth, my man. Prince Marth and Nita Benchik, exactly. It's a cat. A cat purrs, it's an onomatopoeia. Purr, purr, purr. And this type of like metaphor. So saying he is purring, he's like, oh, the treasure. Don't you know when you're writing? Don't be afraid to use that. You know, take the characteristic of an animal or a machine. Okay, yeah, a lion. A lion can also purr. So maybe if we say that, we could say that he roared at them. A common thing to say in English. He roared at me. It's like a lion. Rah! So don't be afraid to take characteristics and use them in your writing to be creative. In Portuguese, ronronar, yeah. In Spanish, it's ronronear. If you can't roll your R's, it doesn't sound the same in the ronronear. Best verb ever. Best verb ever. And yes, and also it says this here. It says, look, he bowed and he scraped. Bowed. I talked about this before. Bow is something which is bent, right? For example, you have your bow and arrow because your bow is like this. You have a rainbow with a rainbow, and you have here your elbow because bent. But if I want to be reverential to you, I bow. You see, I'm bowing, and my body, look, my body is bent. I'm bowing. And he scraped. So he bowed and he scraped. He did this with his hand. Scraped on the floor. Oh, let me give you money. Okay. Okay. One final thing. Right, here we go. So, I will give you some cash, Mr. Briggs, if I may. You will find it is simpler than jewels when you pay. You see, because this is full of jewels. Jewels. Now, jewels, it comes from Latin. In Latin, it's giocare. I don't know why I always say Latin with an Italian accent. Just seems right. I don't know. Giocare. And so jewels are called giocare because in Latin giocare means something that makes you happy. Jewels make you happy, right? Giocare, they're jewels that make you happy. And it's the same Latin root as the English word joke. So a joke makes you laugh, a joke makes you happy, and so do the jewels. You see, look how happy they are. It's not related to joy, but it's similar. Similar root, but not the same. Okay. Where is the? Okay. One final word from this page. Bisuteria. Very nice, Gosha. Very nice. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you, said Bertha with glee. Come, Briggs, let us start on our great shopping spree. So again, we have that word glee. She says it with glee. She's very happy because remember the gl is things that are very bright and very shiny. And things that are bright are things that are happy. Sun is happy. Bright is happy. A bright person is an intelligent person. Glee is happiness. Gleeful is happiness. Very good, Guvid. Very good. Okay. Just one little thing here. Anyway, I hope that you guys are enjoying this what can I say? This thorough reading of a book about pigs. Who knew? I bet that you never guessed that I was going to read you a book about pigs. So glee, yes, glee can be an adjective or a noun. And an adverb, gleefully. Gleefully. Okay, so look at this. So here we go. Here she is trying on dresses. She's so happy. They went to a large and luxurious store where Bertha bought dresses and hats by the score. Score. What does score mean? Score actually means 20. 20. Now, in English, we make fun of the French system of counting. Like in French, if you want to say like 95, you have to say 80. Oh my God, I don't know how to say. How do you say 15 in French? Quinze? 95, I think. 95? Help me, if you're French, help me here. So score means 20, right? So in French you would say 4 times 20 is 80, and then 15 is quinze, I think it's quinze. Yeah, so 4 times 20, so 80. Now, in English, in the past, we did exactly the same thing. If you listen to one of the most famous speeches in all of English is Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address. So, Abraham Lincoln was the famous American president with the hat and the goatee, Abraham Lincoln. And the first sentence of the Gettysburg Address is 77 years ago. Now, most people have no idea what that means, but what he's saying is 87 years ago. The same as in French. 80, so 4 times 20 is 80 and 7. 77 years ago. So when they're saying that she's buying dresses by the score, we're saying by the 20s. By the 20s. Hundreds of dresses. Many, many dresses. Okay, let's continue. So, Briggs' turn was next, and he felt quite a swell. He tried on 4 suits, and they fit him quite well. A swell. Swell. Now, if you're interested in the ocean, if you're interested in boats, then the swell is very important. So you have waves, okay, you have big waves, but the swell is the difference between the lowest point of the wave and the highest point. That's your swell. So on a calm day when the water is very calm, the swell is nothing. Maybe, I don't know, 30 centimeters of swell, right? Like this. Very gentle. Very gentle. But then if it's a storm, maybe you have a 5-meter swell, where the difference between the highest point of the water and the lowest point is extremely exaggerated. That's swell. And so think about that big thing. So he feels, I'm the number 1 pig. I got the money and the suit. I'm swollen. Swollen. You know, if you twist your wrist, it's swollen. It's the same thing. It swells up. So he feels swollen. Okay, so here we go. 97 in French is 97. Woof. 420, 10, 6. Come on, French. You can. Oh, I have to say, congratulations on winning the World Cup. Good job, France. Good job, France. And now I'm sure that maybe one of the big clubs in the Premier League will pay, I don't know, 700 million pounds for Mbappe. No problems. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so here we go. From the store to the showrooms was not very far, so they hurried to buy an expensive new car. This model is the latest, the car salesman said. Then I'll have it, said Briggs, feeling light in the head. Light, like he feels light in the head, like, oh, wow, this is so good, I'm gonna... What a great thing. What a great thing. Agrandado. Yes, agrandado. Why not? So, in jumped the two pigs and they sped on their way. So look at this verb. We're using speed as a verb. Nice. Okay? And look at this, jumped. They jumped into the car. You know, when you're writing, when you're expressing yourself, Gosha says they don't have a driver's license. Yeah, it's true. But, you know, because they're pigs with money, they can do whatever they want. You know, when you're writing, don't be afraid to use verbs that are maybe not, you know, not verbs that you would associate with that action. So, you know, you're jumping in the car. You're not in the car jumping. You know, it means that you jumped in the car, you went quickly, and then you speed on your way. Please don't be afraid to experiment. You know, good writers break the rules. They use language in unexpected ways. It's not about being safe. It's about pushing the limits, you know? So you could say they jumped in the car. Or what about some other verbs? They slid into the car. They rolled into the car. They tornadoed. Use it as a verb. Why not? They tornadoed into the car. You know, whatever you want. There are no rules. Well, there are some rules, but please break them. I want to see all of you breaking the rules. Okay, let's. Okay, so listen. Raphael has a great question, which is, should I stop and look for their definitions to learn more vocabulary, or should I learn it by context? Look, I'm going through a lot of words today. You know, I'm talking about maybe 40 or 50 words. There is no way that you are going to remember that many vocabulary words. It's impossible. In one day? No. And it takes, I think, if you're reading a book and you're enjoying the book, don't ruin the fun. Don't spoil the fun by going to the dictionary and looking at every word, because it makes it more like study. You know, do 2 words or 3, and then use them in that day, and then they'll be there forever. That's you know, this is not only because it's boring, right? But because our short-term and long-term memories have very strict limits. You know, if you try to force yourself to learn 50 words in a day, it's just not. Number one, you probably won't, okay? Maybe if you're a really disciplined person, you will, but what's the point? You learn 50 today and 50 tomorrow, and at the end of the week, you have 250 new words, but you've never used them in context. You've never, they're not, I think it's the difference between having vocabulary and actually using it. It's like, I have all these books, but I never read the books. What's the point? You can say to your friends, hey, I was on Memrise yesterday, and this week I've memorized 5,000 words. I don't care. I'm not impressed. Not impressed at all. If you said to me, this week I learnt 10 words and I wrote this poem, then I'm impressed. Yeah, then I'm impressed, because that's what it's about taking it in, really understanding it, and then spitting it out again. But well, that's just my opinion. Okay, let's continue. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot today. Okay, let's continue. So, they went to an agent who handed to Briggs some pictures of houses just right for two pigs. So Bertha soon spotted the house with most charm. So there's two things I want to talk about. Spotted. Now, what is a spot? Now, maybe if you're having a bad skin day, you have a spot on your face, a pimple. Or maybe if you're eating spaghetti bolognese and you have, when you're eating spaghetti and it sprays everywhere? I hate that. So maybe your t-shirt is covered in spots of spaghetti bolognese sauce, and you're like, oh my God, spots. Now this is actually related to this verb, to spot. Because in the past, to spot was only when you saw a bad person. Maybe a criminal, or a thief, or like a trickster. So that person, that bad person, that criminal, that thief is like these spots. They're dirty. They're negative. And so you spot them. But then over time, it changed to mean to see something in general. So here they spotted the house. They're like, house, I spot it. Ooh, Francesco de Paulus, controversial opinion. Spaghetti bolognese is tagliatelle with ragu. I don't know. I think the mafia is going to hunt you down, my friend. Don't talk about spaghetti bolognese like that. The Padrino. The Italian mafia. Okay, let's have a look at this. Okay, so they spotted the house with the most charm. Now this is the adjective charm, and you can also use the adjective like charming. You can say he's a charming person. What a charming man. Now, in Spanish, it's un hombre encantador, and we now in the Spanish root, maybe in if you speak a European language, it's something similar. It comes from Latin. Do you know the very famous opera Carmen? I think it's one of the most famous operas, Carmen. Well, in Latin, Carmen means song. So the name of the opera is actually song. So Carmen means song, and a song can have this effect on you, right? This effect on you, especially if you use a song to make magic, right? Like in Harry Potter, I don't know, abracadabra, and Maximus, Filius. I don't know any spells. I don't know any magic, but this idea of singing a song or words that can create magic and create feeling, that's what this is charming is about. So a charming man or a charming woman, they're doing magic on you. You're like, wow. They capture you with magic. Wingardium Leviosa. What does that mean? Wingardium Leviosa, flying wingman. No. To rope into. Well, no. To rope into means that you force somebody to do something they don't want to do. Imagine a cowboy. A cowboy has the rope, and he throws the rope over you and pulls you in. He's roping you in. You don't want to, but he's like, "Come here and do it. Come on." Okay. Let's finish this book. So spotted the house with most charm, the one they'd seen from the gate on the farm. The agent escorted them both to the door, then left them alone to go in and explore. That night they were happy as two pigs could be, and they talked and planned until well after 3. So after 3 in the morning. But they were tossing and turning twixt blankets and sheets. So twixt. Now this is an old English word. Remember, this book is from 1973. You don't say this anymore. The word is betwixt, which means exactly the same thing as between. So he was in the bed, he was tossing and turning between the blankets and the sheet, okay? Between blankets and sheet, and he hardly slept on account of the heat. Hardly. Hardly does not mean hard. Hardly means not at all. Or not at all, no, it means very, very little. Very little. Okay, so barely and scarcely, very good, Guvia. So Bertha made breakfast, Briggs puttered about, which means he did nothing in particular, like looking around, yeah. He polished the car, so there he is. Come on, focus camera. Seriously. Hello. So he polished the car. She's cleaning the house. So Bertha cooked dinner and Briggs sat and read. He made some phone calls and they watched TV. Nothing particularly exciting there. Okay, now. One day, feeling restless with nothing to do, while Bertha was busy preparing a stew. Stew. Now, does anybody here know what a stew is? Stew. It's a very important thing. Very good, ever lax. Very good. And cow, exactly. Exactly. So you can see the roots. So in Spanish it's estufar, in French, in Italian it's stufare, in French it's étuver. They all sound very similar. They all mean very similar thing, and they mean a hot bath. You know, like if you go to Turkey, and they have the big room with all of the steam, and it's very hot, and there's some big Turkish man who beats your entire body with it, and he walks on your back. Okay, that's a hot bath. And a hot bath is a stew. Because what you do is you take the meat and you take the vegetables and you take all the ingredients and you put them together in a hot bath and you boil them. So a stew is just one pot with stuff in it. I think every country has a variation of stew. Like, you have the the name. I mean, you have stews in your country, right? I assume you all have a type of, where you put all the ingredients, meat and vegetables, in a pot with water, and you boil and boil for hours. In Iran, gorme sabzi. But is gorme sabzi the food or the place with the big man beats you? The yachni. How's my pronunciation? In Italian, stufato. You can hear the same. Stew, stufato, stew. Okay. So he was driving through the green countryside, speeding down lanes that were not very wide. Suddenly, out of the engine there shot a cloud of black smoke and steam boiling hot. The car gave a cough and a lurch and a leap. So what we're doing is we are taking human characteristics. We're taking human characteristics and putting them on a car. A car can't cough. That's for humans or animals coughing. But we're using it as we're using it for a literary effect. So the car coughed and it lurched. To lurch is to do this, to lurch. So you can imagine the car doing this, okay? And it leaped. To leap is to jump very far. So you can imagine the car's like, like when you're learning to drive and you're not very good with the clutch and the accelerator and the car is going, In English we call those bunny hops because it's like a rabbit, like a rabbit jumping. I did that a lot. It was horrible experience. Okay, so, so the car gave a cough and a lurch and a leap and then rolled to a halt near a flock of white sheep. So flock is the name for a group of sheep, okay? Maybe you know this word from the Latin floccus, which means like hair, bunch of wool. So Briggs lifted the hood. This is the hood of the car, okay? Lifted the hood, and he prodded about. To prod is to poke like this with your finger, prod. But the cause of the trouble could not be found. The longer he struggled, the madder he got. Look at this construction. The longer, the madder. The longer, the madder. Great comparative construction. It's a fixed construction. So we say the with the comparative adjective, and then the with another comparative adjective. So, the more pizza I eat, the happier I am. The more I study, the more I know. The faster I eat, the worse the pain. So that's a great comparative structure to experiment with. Okay. So, till at last in despair, very tired and too hot, he threw down the wrench and he uttered a moan. There's our moan again. Oh. He'd just have to start on the long walk back home. So this is a wrench. This is a wrench. So when he opened the door, Briggs instantly knew that Bertha's new gadgets were troubling too. Gadgets. Gadgets are like things. Like, for example, a telephone is a gadget. This is like a gadget. Normally electronic or mechanical devices that we don't know. And this comes from sailors. So there is a word in French which is gâchette. Sounds very similar, gâchette, which is a part of a lock. So it's a very small mechanical thing. And so the sailors on the boat, They were like, pass me the gâchette, the thingamy-bob, the whatchamacallit, the hoojamy-flurp. It's like a word for something you don't know the word for, a gadget. A gizmo is another one, similar. So in Spanish, it's chisme. Dame el chisme. Okay. Okay. Let's continue with this. So, oh Briggs, Bertha sobbed. What a miserable day! I've been working so hard. I've had no time to play. From that moment on, nothing seemed to go right. Look at the washing machine. Destroyed the clothes. House, garden, and pigs were a terrible sight. At last, the two pigs, they couldn't stand anymore. They couldn't tolerate it. Briggs grabbed Bertha's arms and they dashed through the door. Dashed. Dash. You know, this thing, it's called this thing. This little mark. Okay? The technical name is a hyphen, but a lot of people call it a dash. Because think about that. You have the pen and it's something like quick and fast. You could dash. Like, what's your email address? Christian dash. Little quick thing. So you dash out the door. And if you watch The Incredibles, you know the Pixar film, The Incredibles, the little boy who can run really fast, his name is Dash. Okay, so from the garden they gazed. So again we have the gaze, to look with love. They gazed at the country beyond. And Briggs, in a rage, he pushed his car in the pond. They felt no regrets as they ran through the gate and away from the life they had grown to hate. They pulled off their clothes and ran on faster still. They didn't look back as they tore up the hill. Breathless, with no breath, they ran through the orchard. Remember that old, yes, the vegetable garden gate? For a roll in the mud, the two pigs couldn't wait. To be careless and free and to romp means to play, was all they wanted to do every day. That night, as they lay gazing up at the sky, again gazing with love, Bertha and Briggs heaved a rapturous sigh. Sigh. Let's stay here forever, said Bertha to Briggs, and they fell fast asleep. Two tired, happy pigs. So, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed reading the pig book with me. And I hope that you really learnt some new vocabulary and just maybe, I don't know, just enjoyed reading a book in a pure way for a short time, just like a child. So that's it. I hope I've inspired you to go and read some books this week. You know, even if it's one book or half a book, great. If you can read 5 books, great. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Now I'm going to prepare my next classes for YouTube. This week I'm going to upload some grammar videos. I'm going back to basics. A lot of people have been asking me about the difference between will and going to, and I'm going to answer that question. I will answer it. So thank you all very much. You guys are incredible students. And I'll see you all very soon. So I'm Christian. This is Canguro English. I'll see you in class. Lots of love. Bye.